Joaquin Numanza Buckler.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Buck What You Heard. You already know, man, the numbers is going up right now. It is crazy. I'm so thankful for all the new subscribers. Thankful for all the people that's been tuned in and locked in with us. Your boy a YouTuber, content creator now. But don't get it twisted, man. We still gonna be locked in. We still gonna be training. We're gonna make sure that we get our back up off the canvas. But with all that being said, man, I just want to thank every single person that has been following me, that's been supporting me. But if you also new to this, man, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button right now and make sure y'all lock in with us, bro. But yeah, you already know we got big news, right? Jon Jones just retired, and with Dana White releasing that information, bro, to the world, bro, I feel like, man, it really just shocked everybody, right? This is a moment where I feel like a lot of people are just not going to forget where they were when they heard this news, right? Like when the towers had dropped, right? Or when Michael Jackson had passed away, or when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in the face. Like, you never going to forget where you were when Dana White announced that Jon Jones has officially retired.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
And right now with Jon Jones and who he was and how he cemented his name and becoming not just a great champion, right, but becoming a GOAT. You got this person that became the youngest champion within the UFC's division. You have this person who has not only just beat former champions, but as well Hall of Famers. From the names of Rashad Evans, Shogun Hua, Rampage Jackson. Like, my man has pretty much cemented his name forever. Like, you really cannot say that, Jon Jones is not the greatest of all time. And at first I was like, man, why Jon Jones ducking Tom? But then I kind of thought about it. Is he though? Because at the end of the day, Tom doesn't really do nothing for Jon. Even if Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones was to fight and Jon Jones ends up beating Tom, yet again, the resume kind of speaks for itself. He done it all. So I believe that Jon Jones only did this just in spite, just to show this young buck, like, he the big dog in the game. Tom Aspinall wants to become a big star. Tom Aspinall wants a legend on his resume. Tom Aspinall, wants to be an all-time great, but that's the thing. You got to be the great in order to become a great. And Jon Jones didn't allow this man to have this opportunity. Because what Jon Jones felt as if this young guy, not only is he talented, but he's a little bit too disrespectful. So I feel like a lot of young cats can learn from this situation. Like, you can promote a fight, but at the end of the day, you got to realize the guy's giving the opportunity to you. And with Jon Jones, he could have retired from the Cyril Gane fight or the Stipe fight a long time ago. But he knew and he chose that, no, I'm going to just wait this one out, right? I'm going to claim that, if they offer me a big enough bag, that I'm going to step back into that octagon. But really what Jon was thinking in his mind was like, nah, I'm just going to hold off on this one, and I'm going to make Tom Aspinall beg. I'm going to make Tom Aspinall promote, and I'm going to make that boy waste a lot of time and money that he ain't never gonna get back. And to be honest with you, pretty much, he said, fuck you to the fuck you money. My man Jon Jones said he don't leave the house unless he making 100 bands. And y'all know he don't ever go home. So he good. That boy making his bread. That boy getting his money. So I think that Jon Jones, he just told the game and Tom Aspinall who really run it. Who really is the GOAT of the game. Because Jon Jones can literally almost get away with anything. It don't matter what he say, it don't matter what he do. The UFC is always going to look at Jon Jones as, a person that just can't do wrong. Even Dana White still saying like, yeah, he ain't duck him, all-time legend. But the only thing about Jon, I feel like, he messed it up for a good amount of us, right? Because with the UFC and seeing that it ain't about the money. It ain't about how much you offer somebody, to fight. If a person don't want to fight, they not finna get up in there. But I tell y'all this right now. UFC offer me $30 million. Well, I fight Tom right now. I ain't lying. We'll get busy. But yet again, Tom Aspinall wanted that name. Tom Aspinall wanted that GOAT. And the UFC was willing to give whatever price that they needed, in order to make it happen. But like I said, Jon Jones done it all. He was happy to move on. So shout out to Jon Jones, man. You had a wonderful career. You did your thing, and you always going to be remembered as the GOAT and one of the greatest of all times. And, it's just a salute to you and what you've done in your career. Tom is now the new undisputed heavyweight champion. And my dude ain't got nobody to fight. He done already kind of cleared out his division. You talking about from beating Curtis Blades, right? From beating Volkov, from beating Sergey. And not just beating them, but knocking these dudes out in the first minute is crazy. So we got to find somebody that can really match up and that can really become a challenge for him, right? And the only person I can see out there that could do that is Francis Ngannou. And y'all seen Usman walk out with Francis, right? I guess they were trying to set up a little something because they already knew what could be a potential matchup in the future between Francis Ngannou and Tom Aspinall. But now that I'm hearing, right, Dana talk about he don't want to see that man come back in the octagon. Francis talk about who said I ever wanted to come back. Nah, we can't have that, right? Because this is the fight to make right now. And where the heavyweight division is right now, it's a little confusing. Like, we don't know what's going on. But this is the fight where you got two of the best in their prime right now that can go at it. And I would hate a personal feud between Dana and Francis to let us miss out on another great fight. Because even with the Jon Jones, when he moved up to heavyweight, right, we all wanted to see that fight between him and Francis Ngannou happen, but it just never did. And Francis moved on and did his thing, right? Now we seen Francis when he fought, Tyson Fury, and my man took that dude to a decision. And then right after that, unfortunately, man, my man Anthony Joshua sent that man to the king, but he still showed that he had no fear, right? And going out there with the best in the world and they discipline. But then once he, realized, okay, I did my thing in boxing, moved back to MMA, you seen what he did at PFL, right? And he dominated the dude that he fought. So I'm already knowing Francis ain't got no real competition out there. So he got to come back into the octagon. He got to come back to the UFC. And that's the thing. Like, I know that you said you're not coming back, Francis, or you never said you was, but come on, bro. Who else you going to fight out there? The UFC, bro, needs to pull Francis Ngannou back in the octagon. That's the only fight that you can make right now in the heavyweight division. And the only person that's saying that, they can be put in that position is Almeida. He over there in the corner raising his hand like, hey, pick me, pick me. It ain't finna happen, player. Because you done already lost to the people that Tom done beat, right? You're going to really have to put in some work or do some rematches in order to put yourself in position. So with Tom Aspinall and Francis Ngannou, that's the biggest fight to make right now. And I'm just hoping that, this personal feud between Francis and Dana, don't affect, the fans. And even myself, like I said, bro, as much as I'm a fighter, bro, I love watching this sport. We got to see these guys step into the octagon with one another and get busy, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. And the numbers definitely going to go up if they make that fight happen. Speaking about, super fights, right? You got the Booty Warrior Takeover, Islam and JDM are definitely finna fight. And I believe that JDM is our last hope. JDM, you are our last hope. And I know I've been talking a lot of stuff on Jack, man, and just talking about, yet again, he is not the best stylistic matchup for Islam, or the worst stylistic matchup for him is Islam. I really think in my mind that, he is the only person that's going to keep the fight on the feet, and he is a champion that is going to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye, right? Because when Islam, goes up to 170 and he fight JDM, you already know he going to be shooting from the first, second, third to the fifth round. And he's not going to stop shooting until he get my dude on the ground, maybe take his back and choke him out. So JDM, man, this is my shout out to you, bro. Man, keep the fight on the feet, man. Work on that wrestling. Because even though a lot of people can say, oh, well, you seen what he did against Bilal, you seen the shots that he stopped in, but at the same time, Bilal got away from his game plan. Bilal was trying to show y'all he had Canelo hands, you know, and he did get busy with JDM. I'm not gonna lie, you know, had JDM swollen in both eyes, almost turned his nose from the left side to the right side, right? So you seen that Bilal still put in some good work, but at the same time, if Bilal more likely would have stuck with his game plan by constantly shooting and constantly getting him up against the cage, he might have had some success. But you know, with that being said, you know, Islam, he's not gonna go away from his game plan. He gonna do what he do best. And that's grapple. Get you to the ground, find a Kimura submission or find that Darce choke, right? So with JDM, you got to make sure to keep this fight on his feet because we already know, even though JDM has never lost in the UFC, if we go way, way back, right, we can look at them 2 early losses. And one of them losses, bro, my man got submitted. Now, look, I know I was talking a lot of stuff about me not being able to get taken down by Islam, but one thing I can still stand firm on, I ain't never been submitted. I ain't never been tapped out. But with that being said, though, that's what Islam is looking for. That's what Islam is looking to do, right? Is to be able to take Buddy neck and make him tap out. So JDM, like I said, you our last hope, big fella. Or it's going to be the Booty Warrior Takeover. And with that being said, if Islam beats JDM, you gonna have Islam versus Usman.
You know, let's be honest, I'm the biggest in the division. You know, and this is about entertainment. The UFC is an entertainment company. You want to make the biggest fight. It's gonna be the winner of JDM and Islam. If Islam pulls that one out, former pound for pound, current pound for pound, who doesn't pay for that?
You're gonna have current champion versus former champion. And that's gonna be a massive fight in itself, right? And this the cool part, which is crazy. When you get 2 grapplers fighting each other, they just want to duke it out all of a sudden, right? That's just like the Usman versus Kobe fight 1, you know, or when, you know, Arman and Islam fought, you know, back in the day. You know, a lot of these guys think they got hands. You know, if 2 guys got grappling, they definitely willing to test each other's ability on the feet, right? So having both Islam and Usman on the feet, who I'm running with? I gotta go with Usman, man. Not gonna lie. And even though Usman, he ain't got no footwork, and you know we talk about he ain't got no knees, he stands his ground, right? He has strong jabs, you know. He got a great cross, and the thing about, you know, Usman, he's very precise, right? When he throws them shots, right, he's looking to land. And with Islam, right, I think Islam has more tools when it comes to his kicks, hooks, uppercuts, you know, on all these things. But I just don't see him being able to reach and being able to find those shots inside. He will actually have to turn into almost like a dirty boxer, right? But with him, Islam, he's usually the bigger guy, right? When it comes to, you know, him fighting at 155. It's not going to be the same story with him moving up to 170. And now, even though Islam, if he's able to get through JDM, he's going to show that he's capable at fighting at that weight class. But yet again, when it comes to the strikes and comes with the reach, he's not going to have that reach to get to Usman. So I got to go with Usman on this one, bro. I can see Usman really kind of taking this fight all the way to a decision, man, and showing and pretty much putting on a clinic when it comes with the hands and really being able to show what he been practicing with Trevor Whitman and on that heavy bag. Even though he ain't do it with me, I know he's going to be able to do it against Islam. So it's going to be an incredible super fight if they able to make it happen and if Islam is able to take that belt from JDM. Another super fight, right? You got, man, so many different super fights that they making. But right now, we talking about the women's division, you know? You got Zhang Wei Li, and you got Valentina Shevchenko, the Bullet, and then you got Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. I feel like these are 2 massive fights that, you know, the UFC can make. And even though we have one confirmed in Kayla and Amanda, I really feel like this next matchup between Wei Li and the Bullet, like, I feel like that can be something that's also developed in the future. But my question to y'all, which one is a bigger fight, right? Which one is the most massive? Which one are you guys more excited for, you know? To me, I want to see both of them, but at the end of the day, I'm more of a Zhang Wei Li fan, you know? I'm more of a Valentina fan because when I watch these girls, I feel like I'm learning. Right, I feel like with their dynamic style and just the versatile disciplines that they know, like these are the type of things that I can actually jot down and take notes for myself and put into my game. when both these ladies fight aesthetically, right? I'm looking at a complete martial artist here. From Zhang Weili when she is out there throwing those boxing combinations, right? And then on the feet and on the ground, right? When she's using those, chokes where she choked out Carla Esparza, like those unique techniques that she's able to pull off and able to show in the octagon, right? It just shows that she's a complete fighter. And along with Valentina, you know what I mean? She did it first, right? You know what I mean? Headshot dead. Her beautiful head kicks, as well as her spinning back fist, as well as her now, right, implementing her grappling, right? Being able to put these girls down. And I ain't gonna lie, Valentina kind of put on some weight. She got some size. Y'all see the OnlyFans out there. Y'all see it. But at the same time, it's just like she's able to implement all these different things in her game that always is a benefit. So with these two ladies and both of them matching up against one another, I feel like that's a massive fight, man, that is only going to be beneficial to the women's division, right? To the women's, MMA, right? Because a lot of these girls can look at what these women are doing, and this is what they can kind of scale up to. And the same thing with Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes. Now, these just two studs fighting. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, right? You got John Cena versus a man, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. And these two females right here, like, they are the type that's going to really pretty much put it on the line. Amanda Nunes, y'all seen what she do with grapplers, man. She like to keep it on her feet, and she like to pretty much put hands on them. And for me, I don't think Amanda can bully Kayla like she done everybody else. And you got to realize Amanda has done it all. She is the epitome of the GOAT when it comes to women's MMA, right? And becoming a multi-division, champion with, simultaneously holding two belts at one time, having the most title defenses, right? As well. And then on top of that is a Hall of Famer. Amanda Nunes done it all, but she got this hungry competitor in Kayla Harrison, right? Who's also trying to make her name, a multi-division world champion from the PFL, now transitioning over to the UFC, and now she has that strap, right? She won a legend in her resume. She want to go after the GOAT. And this is a fight that I feel like so many people, right, are going to tune in to watch because of the impact that both of these ladies have been able to make. However this fight goes, right, it's only going to be fun to watch. But sometimes, for me, I just like to put things out there, right? My girl Clarissa Shields, you guys see her out there. She doing her thing. She actually got a fight coming up in July pretty soon. Make sure y'all tune in for her. But, man, I'm so disappointed, man. My girl done gave up on MMA. She was doing so good, man. She had a winning record in MMA, and she was progressing in her game. And me and Clarissa, we trained back in Michigan with one another. She is a hard worker. She is implemented, so many different things in her game. And she's very smart, right, where she's able to pick up information very quickly. And just to see just her tenacity, right, and her willingness to come to practice, right, every single day, and to put herself in uncomfortable positions, I gotta respect that. But I really feel like, it ain't really much that Clarissa can do in boxing. She done it all. She done beat up all these young girls, But I really feel like if she really wants to be known as that one, her coming back to MMA and her potentially becoming a UFC fighter and being able to fight a person like either Amanda or Kayla Harrison, that would be big. That would be massive, And I know I'm pushing it out there. I know I'm just talking about it, but that's one of my things, man. I just really think that'll be an incredible fight, for her to have. And also, like, for me, I don't think, Clarissa would have to work her way up there, right? As long as Clarissa is learning, the defenses of how to, stay from getting taken down, right? Learning how to sprawl, learning how to get the back up off the cage, learning different clinch positions, She gonna be a problem for both Kayla and Amanda, because neither one of them gonna be able to stand with her, period. And I put that on everything. They not gonna be able to stand with her. But this is the type of game that I feel like can really introduce the world to Clarissa. Now, yeah, she didn't had her movies, she didn't been out there and done her thing in boxing, but if Clarissa is able to obtain the biggest strap on the planet within the UFC, she gonna achieve the dream that she always wanted to achieve, and that's being the greatest combat athlete on the planet. And Clarissa, like I said before, like I definitely want to be able to help get you to that point. Now, look, don't come to me with the wrestling, bro. They already seen what happened to me. But I really feel like if you do transition and you do change your mind about, becoming a mixed martial artist, that's all you got to learn is the wrestling defense. That's all you got to learn is how to get up off your back, right? That's all you got to learn is how to, maneuver in the clinch. Because other than that, you're going to take it. And once you take it, you're going to be able to put yourself in a position where, yet again, you can prove to the world you're the greatest combat athlete, not just female, but just period, because you're going to do something that nobody else on the planet has ever done. All right, y'all, appreciate y'all for listening to Buck What You Heard. But before we go, right, we got a new segment, man, that we're going to be doing, KOs every week, right? And I'm pretty much going to be showing, highlights from different places, whether that's from the UFC, whether that's from regional shows, whether that's from, boxing, or just overall somebody get knocked out at the Waffle House. Like, I'm going to show that too, but I'm going to show the best knockouts from all across the globe, But every week, this is going to be a new segment. So if you guys see a knockout that you love, go ahead and hit me with the DMs. But this is what we calling getting bucked up. In this episode of Getting Bucked Up, we got Nazim Sadikov versus Nicholas Mota. Y'all seen that fight that happened in Bukavu? That fight was crazy, And both of those guys, they was going to war. They was throwing them hands, I don't think I seen one jab or one cross. All them things was hooks, you heard me? So when them boys was out there and really duking it out, I'm talking about they was landing so many different significant shots on each other. It was crazy. And with that being said, right, here's the knockout right here.
Sadikov. Body head.
That was crazy. My man came back. That was wild, right? Because you seen that he was kind of, getting caught for a little minute, but just out of nowhere in that second round, my man touched that chin, My man sent him to the king. It's crazy. So look, with that being said, man, that was the best knockout of the week. And I'm really excited, man, to kind of keep constantly doing these segments, man, and seeing what's next, But yeah, that was getting bucked up. Yeah, so closing this episode out, man, I just want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers, man. Make sure that y'all like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned for my next episode, man, where we're going to be talking about Ilya Topuria and Charles Oliveira and how they're going to duke it out 317.